Hello and welcome to,
Hey, we like your pod.
and we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined again. I missed you so much last week by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett. How you doing, Matt? How's it going?
Oof, it's been a lot lately, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Don, I missed you too. Huge shout out to Miranda, who did an amazing job holding down the fort last week. I really enjoyed listening to you guys. It was great stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, how am I? We're closing on the house tomorrow and moving in the afternoon. It's been a journey getting here. In the last week, I think every little thing that could have gone wrong went wrong, but then we managed to make it right. So it's kind of a weird, every little thing. It was a panic moment for us. The worst though was last Friday morning at 7:15. The movers called me and said, "Matt, bad news, buddy. We don't have a truck or people to move your stuff." And I was like, "No, that can't happen." The person's moving in tomorrow. So fortunately, the guy who runs the company managed to make it work. He got his best mover to come in on his day off, scrounge up some dudes for a crew, and rented a truck from the U-Haul. So he made it work. But man, there was that moment, 20 minutes of panic while he was trying to sort things out. My goodness.
He shouldn't have even told you, man. He should not have done that.
He should have found a way to make it work before telling me. That is true.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that. But when he told me, I was like, I'm not going to tell Kara till we have this figured out. So
good. At least you knew better. Yeah. Good.
That was crazy. So anyhow, yeah. I mean, other than that.
Sometimes I think these movers and contractors and stuff, they do this stuff just to mess with us. I swear to God, they know you're under that kind of stress. They know better.
Maybe. I don't know. It was bananas, but it's all working out. So I can't complain too much. And family's adapting well, and things are good. Don, how are you?
I'm doing well. It is. We had the time change. It's officially winter now. I guess it's not winter till December or whatever, and it's 3 degrees colder here where I live, so I'm freezing. But it's that time of year where I make my winter drink. So I made my little concoction for tonight, and I'm enjoying it. It's got little hints of grapefruit, rose, and of course vodka, and a little bit of lemon sage. It's delicious.
I think with the ingredients you're talking about there, I can see how that can feel very like late autumn into early winter. I mean, I definitely don't think it's winter yet. I wouldn't say that by any stretch, but it's moving towards it for sure. There's this part of the drive home where I'm driving down this road with trees on both sides, really nice tree-lined street, and the trees are this bright red right now, and it feels really wonderfully autumnal right now.
That's nice. Yeah, well, November, and I heard the reason I was like, I've got to make my winter drink because I heard it was going to be cold or maybe even snowing at Lambeau this week. No,
is that right? This week?
I mean, I thought that's what I heard.
I know there's the possibility of snow in the forecast here. Actually, maybe Monday. So maybe you're right. I mean,
yeah. Okay, that makes sense then. Monday would be Lambeau, would be north. So okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's we don't fluctuate very much, but because it's such a small amount, I get the chills real easily. And I get really hot if it gets warm again. So so I was still pretty calm and confident. We talked about this last week with Miranda. You caught that, right? Last game before last, I was like, we're gonna figure this out, and we did, and we won the game. But then this most recent game, right? So even during halftime, I was like, we'll be okay. But I did kind of sense something was very different. I didn't know what I actually watched the game a second time because I was trying to read body language on the sidelines and stuff. And I didn't really see anything in the second watching. I thought Matt looked tired at the very first part of the game. I mean, it looked like he had little wrinkles under his eyes. So, I mean, I'm not used to that. But he did look a little tired to me. I was like, oh, he looks tired. And then that happened. So
Mhm.
anyway, and then, I just, I just didn't doubt that they would win the game because they were favored to win the game by 650 million points.
Yeah.
And like, why would they lose?
Yeah.
But it was getting a little sketchy there. And so we talked about why I was really confident for the Steelers game. But this time around, I mean, I think most people who watch the Packers, they know that they're capable of excellence, but also disaster.
Yeah.
Any given Sunday. And then the loss and the injury. Oh,
Oh,
injuries.
Dawn.
I
I am
know.
heartbroken because this
I know.
season, Tucker Craft really stole my heart. It took me,
Mhm.
it became my favorite Packer.
Oh,
I hesitate to admit that I got the jersey I talked about before because then I feel bad. Like, did I curse him?
no.
But Jimmy Christensen got his jersey too, and Jimmy actually causes those kinds of problems. He actually is a known jersey curse. And in fact, True North is talking about Jimmy here because he didn't show up for Lombardi's Bar because he knows he's going to get the heat for having bought that jersey and ruined Tucker Craft's season. But anyhow, my point is, when he went down during the game, I was like, okay, this dude's Superman. Like, he's been injured before, then popped back up. Like, it's he might be out for like a couple,
Right.
plays, and
It
then he's
didn't
gonna
look
like
that bad.
snap his knee
Yeah.
back in. He'll come back in the game, and then he's going around in the cart, and I'm like, oh no, like,
Oh.
okay, so it's like an
Mhm.
MCL maybe or something, right? And then like the next day, they're like, nope, torn his ACL out for the season. Like, my heart sank. Like, literally, like I felt sad. Like, I tried not to get too emotional about football. I've learned not to get too emotional about it. And
Right.
this is one where I just like, it's been kind of hanging all week, just feeling sad about that. I'm like, the Packers lost in a stupid game, kind of whatever. It's concerning, but it's kind of whatever. But losing Tucker Craft, that's one where it's like, oh God, like that maybe really hurts our chances. Or maybe, Don, maybe it's going to force Matt LaFleur to like reevaluate how he's doing some things because he has to, because he doesn't have anybody to generate yak all of a sudden. Well, I shouldn't say anybody, that's not true, but
Right.
doesn't have a really, really great yak target right there. It maybe opens the door for Luke Musgrave to like do something. It maybe opens the door for Matt to think of different ways to like use the players that he actually has to play to their strengths. Maybe, opens up some more of the passing game for Jordan Love.
Right.
I don't know. I want to believe that Matt LaFleur is as good a coach as national pundits say he is. I'm not going to listen to the Packers fans on this. That everyone wants to fire him right now. That's ridiculous. But that he has such a good reputation nationally that I want to believe that he's going to rise to this. He's going to say, all right, we lost a really important piece, and we've been making some really weird decisions in games and like some approaches that we've been taking. Like, I need to rethink this. This is what we're going to do. This is how we can go forward and like actually, play to the level of talent that we have. But that's the thing. I think the next 2 or 3 games are going to show us like, does Matt LaFleur, can he do what needs to be done to make this work or not? And if the answer is or not, then I think that's where he really should start to get worried about his job security. And I mean, I think that if we fired him, he'd get hired in a minute, by a number of other teams that would love to have him. But if he can't make it work with the kind of talent that we have, I think there's going to be real serious conversations, especially with the way how, Ed Policy was saying, we're not going to just renew these guys out of hand. Like, I kind of want to make them, show it. He didn't say that in so many words, but, to me, sort of a little bit the message. And, Brian Gutekunst got us Micah Parsons. I think he's safe. But
well,
I don't know.
Remember,
what do you think,
even if we look really bad and stumble into the playoffs and then he pulls it together, I mean, he's got the rest of the season to figure this out, and probably next season too, most likely. But right. So because we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. We don't know what's causing some of this. They can't reveal everything. So, right. So, yeah. For me, I'm just bracing for disappointment and hoping for the best, prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and be happily surprised, and just going to enjoy the ride. A lot of times in life, because football is life. We talk about this all the time, that when we have expectations, we're just disappointed. So when we don't have expectations, we can enjoy the ride more. So that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, it's been a real a rude awakening for sure.
Yeah. And that whole idea of like expectation versus just enjoying the ride is something of course, we've talked a lot about in this podcast over the years, going from like the last Rodgers season with having so much expectation and it being dashed and it's being like really hard to watch the team by the middle of the season versus the first Jordan Love season where it was like we had no expectations and then they were really good and it was really fun.
Right. Right.
Of course, we're coming into this year with like those same like weighty, and perhaps unrealistic expectations. So maybe this is the moment to flip back over to like, all right, let's just have fun with this. And I do expect them to get into the playoffs,
right?
But
and anything can happen. And
anything can happen.
By the way, have you been watching any of the other teams? Because it's crazy out there.
Oh,
the NFL is crazy this year. So really, anything can happen. So no, it's not the way we thought it was going to look, especially the way we came out the first couple games, and against the Steelers. And it's pretty disappointing when we only lost 2 games and it was to the teams that we were highly favored to win. That's just weird, but it's like a blown chance. But at the same time, in the end, it probably won't matter because what matters is how we do in the playoffs. So I'm not going to lose. I mean, of course, it was a blow, but at this point, I'm like, no, let's just see what happens.
Yeah. Exactly. And in the end, it's true. It's like there's 2 seasons to the season because until you get to the playoffs, that's a whole thing. Once you're in the playoffs, it's almost like everything resets and whoever happens to be hot, which is almost random. It's like which team just happens to be on at that point. Those kinds of teams are the ones that can make the run. And, you could have a team like the Packers have been so many years where they win almost every game and they get there and they're the number 1 or the number 2 seed. And then it just doesn't work out in the playoffs for them because some other team happens to be hot, or the 49ers happen to be hot that year, or whatever else.
Well, they have to learn how to win even under adversity because that's what good teams do, right? So, and then in light of what happened with the Dallas player overnight, I think we have very little, like it kind of put everything for me into like perspective. And I mean, that's really sad. That's something to be upset about.
Yeah.
Losing a game. Okay. I mean, sure, we can be disappointed, but it's been a few days. It's on to the next game as far as I'm concerned. And with that, I think it's on to the next thing because before we step all over, it's time for this week's Superlatives. All right. Well, if you aren't with us, you don't know what we just did, and that's your fault. So you should be watching. Okay, I'm just going to start.
Go for it.
Ejiro Evero, can we please have him back? He killed us. He's my super. No, just kidding. I do love him, but he really did beat us silly with his defense, and he knows Matt LaFleur's tendencies.
Yeah, clearly.
Okay,
yeah.
And he's done this before. But does Matt LaFleur know Matt LaFleur's tendencies? That's the question. So, So I just want to shout out to Mr. Evero. Well done. But I would say that, I did see panic with Matt LaFleur. I've seen it before. He's actually shared it with us where he said, everything's happening so fast, So I saw it. I understand the criticism. I'm not going to obsess about it. He does seem panicked at times. I'm sure he's hearing this from others inside the team or whatever, and he'll get on top of that. But yeah. So shout out to Ejiro because they really did a good job. And he knew what to do against the Packers.
He did, and Matt LaFleur knew what he was going to do.
I know,
and it still happened anyhow.
Yeah,
which is
I know.
Part for me, like it's like,
right?
Why?
It doesn't. I know that part. That's the part. So that's why we're going to hear about superlatives tonight because this is kind of like I hope this episode helps people transition and cope a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And because calling for the head coach to be fired mid-season, that's silly. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And by the way, you're not qualified to make those decisions, so just stop it. Just stop it. You don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I'm not saying he shouldn't be or should be, but I'm just saying, yeah, just stop it.
Yeah.
So, what's your first one?
My first superlative is best situational analysis.
Okay.
This is an article by Bill Huber. It was Now What? 3 big picture overreactions from Packers loss to Panthers. And so this was good because, after the game, I'm like, what happened? I don't know how to comprehend what happened. And I'm too sad from Tucker Kraft going down to even focus. And it's like, I remember texting my dad, like I hate this game. This sucks, which is something I don't usually ever say during a Packers game.
Right.
And, there's been a lot of criticism at Matt LaFleur this week. But a lot of it is like emotional, unfocused, fire the coach, like we were talking about.
Right.
Well, it takes someone like Bill Huber to be able to put into words what it was that, Matt LaFleur did in the game, what it was that this, points to of larger tendencies that are cropping up, issues that are really showing up that could really, definitely sink the season. And so the first big overreaction is the whole season's over, and he's saying, well, obviously it's not.
No.
But, I've worked here long enough to know that this is Titletown and people expect the championship, and anything less than that is a failure. Right. So given what things look like this last weekend, it looked like there's no way we're making it to the Super Bowl. If we keep playing like that, we're not gonna. But Bill took the time to break it down, here's what is going wrong. And so that was the first big overreaction is everything's over. Then the next one is but if Matt LaFleur can turn things around in ways that he's actually capable of doing, this can actually work out. And so explain kind of the things that would need to change in order for the season to get back on track. And it's all stuff that is totally possible. So it was, and there's a third overreaction that isn't as consequential, but basically, Bill hits you with the cold hard facts of this is bad for these reasons. But then on the other hand, here's why it could get better. And I'm not pulling your leg. I'm telling you the real stuff. This could get better for these reasons. And so while you start off the bad place, you come out kind of going, okay, all right. It's not all over. There's a lot of season left. Like you're saying, the rest of the league is crazy right now, and
insane.
Who are the good teams consistently week to week? Nobody. Nobody. Mm-hmm. Even the Broncos in the first half of the game tonight on Thursday night here were looking kind of rough.
They have been. They have been.
Buccaneers look, invincible.
Right.
And the Colts, they lost this weekend too, didn't they?
Right. Yes.
Even your Super Bowl champions, the Eagles. I think we're going to beat the Eagles on Monday.
I honestly are not the team they were last year, nor are we. But they're almost a run it back team, but not as good.
Not as good.
So
and they're I think they're people always talk about, is there drama in the locker room for the Eagles? A lot of times there seems to be. It sounds like maybe there's a little of that this year. So and you bring in three, they just got 3 new players in the end of the trade deadline, I think.
Yes.
So who knows what that's going to do to the chemistry of the team? I mean, I don't even know. So am I scared of the Eagles? Should I be? Probably. Am I? Not really. I think we're going to beat them. And then hopefully the next week when we play the Giants, the whole team will reflect back on here's how we played teams that we thought were supposed to just whoop, and we lost. Mm-hmm. So let's not do that again with the Giants. I mean, I think of the next 3 games we win 2 easily, and I think the Eagles is one of them.
We certainly can. Any given Sunday, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. It's time to adjust. It's been for a while, but yes.
Yeah.
All of the above, and that kind of lends itself to my next superlative, Maddie. But I'm kind of put together a little bit of a metaphor.
Okay.
Because it's how I think. So my next one is biggest fashion fail. So this is terms I can understand. Okay. But check this out. So Sports Illustrated, Warren Sharp, Rich Eisen, many others predicted the Panthers were a sleeper team. I remembered that before the season started. A dark horse. Yeah. They're not as bad as many think. Why Vegas had them down by 2 scores, probably because we were at Lambeau, because of the way we performed against the Steelers. Couple, 1 touchdown each, maybe. So Sharp called Carolina actually a legit dark horse. So he was serious before the season, and Panthers were I watched a YouTube, and I had to go look it up because it's like, did I imagine that? And I'm like, yeah, I did watch that YouTube. So, but so meanwhile, Green Bay has a designer wardrobe, but keeps mismatching their outfit. Right? They have all these great players, all the great things. They've got Lambeau Field. They have it all.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Packers owned the best record in the conference until they didn't play till their potential.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly it. They have gorgeous pieces, roster talent, great coaching pedigree. Yet when the lights hit the runway, the outfit is hard to look at, uninteresting, and sometimes repulsive to the eye. I'm from the fashion world, so it's something I kept thinking of. It's like, they're just not putting this outfit together. What is the problem? And I think a lot of people sense that. But so in the post-game breakdown, the comment that the team looks the part, but keeps failing in the clutch, that was from Jason Wilde and Tausch. Mm-hmm. And I like Jason Wilde a lot, by the way.
Yeah, agreed.
I've really grown to. So so you have every top tier garment, but you're still wearing last season's shoes. Another analyst underlined the execution leg. Offensive fails exposed. Couldn't pull the obvious decision. In fashion terms, you buy the tailored suit, but then throw on a neon belt and call it avant-garde. Doesn't work. It's hard to see. That's my superlatives. Yeah. And so my hot take really on Matt LaFleur, because I was really watching it. I watched the game twice, the second time last night, to see if I could pick up on his body language. And I've always thought, and I think Matt has even said about himself, that he's intuitive, right? He's emotional. He's intuitive. He likes to get a feel for the game. That's sometimes how he makes those decisions. Mm-hmm. And those are great traits, I think. But something we talked about a lot last week with Miranda, I'm concerned that Matt might be struggling with how to incorporate in-game real-time analytics.
I think you're right.
I think he's like a deer in the headlights. I literally see panic, not just on the floor, but J-Lo's face, but that probably trickles down, right? I don't know. I mean, it's a lot to process. So I think it's a real struggle. I could be totally wrong about this, but so I kind of did a little research on what coaches have to go through. Like, what are they processing in game? Because I think we forget about that, especially, again, this is kind of a call out to other beloved fans, like calling for the coach to be fired. And maybe that is a reason to be fired if he can't handle that kind of pressure, right? That kind of would make sense. But so during a game, any coach is like standing in the middle of all this real-time data coming at them. And every play generates like all kinds of analytics. It's not just the game. It's like every single play, every second, things are being churned out. Win probabilities, expected points, success rate, run pass efficiency, pressure rates, separation distance, all updating instantly from the booth and from the headset. Then all the modeling that goes on, the kick punt probabilities, all that. I mean, I don't get that 4th and 8th thing. I mean, that was so obvious. But again, I think I don't know what the analytics were saying. I'm guessing the analytics and I think his intuition was like, well, it worked for me to trust the team last week.
Yeah.
I'm going to show them that I believe it. And I think he might even be feeling that pressure, like that. Why isn't he more like Dan Campbell pressure? I hope he's not, because we don't want him to be more like Dan Campbell. Please don't be. So anyway, so he's just got like, there's just a whole list of things. And so a question is whether or not he can kind of weather the storm of each game. And it kind of looks like he was a little out of sorts. He needed a raincoat last week, and he just so that's what I'm feeling. I feel like, and I watched body language of Kyle Shanahan. I'm always fascinated with what he's doing during the game. I've never really loved him, but I'm fascinated with him. That dude has his head down. He's listening. He's got his papers going. He's writing his notes. He doesn't emote anything. He doesn't smile. He's like a robot. He's like a little machine. And it's like, he does well. Okay, you got to give him that. So I feel like he's kind of cold, and that's why I don't love him. But so when you watch Matt LaFleur, right, and how emotional he is, I love that about Matt LaFleur. I just want him to find a way, if that's what's going on, to rely on his team, or even, I don't know, giving up the play calling. No, he can still plan the game, but not call the game. I don't know. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way. But Matt LaFleur's body language really stands out, doesn't it? I mean, it does. Really, yeah. So it informs us. We're only guessing. It's not a science. Body language isn't a science, but it just made me think about all that stuff. So kind of a combination of all the pieces, but it's like a fail on the runway. Like, what is happening here? You've got all these great pieces. And then just to wrap it up, a couple of reads, if you're interested in this topic, would be Wisconsin Sports Heroics. They had an article called Packers telling stat as big favorites highlights nagging weakness. And it focuses on how the Packers repeatedly underperform as big favorites.
Who wrote that?
It includes analytics and stat discussions. So that's why it's kind of, and spread records and execution. And that was from John Spiza.
I am not familiar with his game. I'm going to check that out.
It was very curious. It was good. And then the second one you could listen to is our good old Packers.com Spaff. And his rapid reaction after the game went into this. So, yeah. So I was like, oh, good. I'm not the only one thinking it's a lot. Yeah. So. And interestingly, Matt LaFleur said we can't chase big plays. And then that's what he did. But that's also what the fans are clamoring for.
Yeah. Well, it's tricky, because I think that Jordan Love can make big plays. He has the arm for it. He has the processing ability for it. And I think we have receivers who can make the big plays with him. But I worry about the O-line being able to keep Jordan Love clean long enough for those plays to develop downfield, I think it is hard to have a team's offense that relies on big plays because they can be so, hit and miss. So, feast and famine, it worries me to always rely on that. But I can see why after the game he was saying we rely too much on it because he felt like he had to go for it on that 4th and 8, which again, just terrible decision, terrible play call. Everything about it was bad. He said as much himself. It's
unless he, and then there's the whole thing is there's the explosive play discussion and then big play. What are we talking about here? So I think that, with fans, a lot of things, we don't always know it's good to read some of these articles because you kind of dissect what these things mean. And it just, for me personally, and I know you feel the same way, it just kind of makes me handle being a fan better, and it helps me handle the highs and lows to kind of see it that there's reasons behind a lot of this stuff. It's not just all, well, he's just a dork, he doesn't know how to be a coach. There's a little more to it than that, and and it also gives you hope for the to go for the next week. So so what's your next one, Maddie?
Well, speaking of articles that can break down what happened. Great segue, Matt. My second superlative is an article by the great Ben Solak, writing for ESPN, I believe. And the article is called NFL Week 9 Lessons, Packers, J.J. McCarthy Trade Deadlines. Of course, I'm focusing on the Packers part. Where what Ben Solak did is he broke down what the Packers offense has been doing, lots of good analytics, lots of, really detailed, really thoughtful, intelligent analysis to talk about
here's why it isn't working, but here's why it could work, and here's what they can do. Like it was kind of like Bill Huber's article in a way, in that it was like, this is why it's broken. But then he went like really into depth about like, well, but these are things that can happen as well, kind of like Bill's did, right? Like here are specific things they could change that will like play to the strengths they actually have in meaningful ways. And he like hammered on like the defense really like becoming as special as it can be, you know. And on some of the different approaches that they can take on offense. Most of the article is focused on like what they've been doing on offense so far. And so the way he broke it down, it was what's the word? It was insightful. It was insightful to watch because you know, you watch the game this last Sunday, you're like, what the heck happened? Well, Ben Solak comes in and tells you, here's what happened. And these last few games, and things have been looking kind of rough on offense. This is why it's looked kind of rough. And this is all because, you know, coming into the year, people are like, oh, the Packers offense is going to be amazing. And it has been amazing at times. It's just not consistently amazing. So you get confused. Why is that happening? This article does a great job of breaking that down. So Ben Solak is just a great writer and a great, you know, football mind. And this was an excellent instance of him kind of pouring his mind into like the Packers offense and what's kind of going wrong with it. Really good read.
I got to check that out. I did not come across, I listened to so much and read so much this week. It was I was really like trying to work my way through this by like getting into and not everything. It's like, I'm not going to listen to the hysteria and the crazy. I mean, some of it is just too much. So
well, it's like we need to process, you know, such a terrible loss. And I think we both are the same. Like we're gonna like listen to smart people talking about it and see what they have to say and try to better understand what the heck happened. So yeah, I mean, we've been busy with everything with the move and all that kind of stuff, so I haven't had a chance to listen to as much. But every second I get, you know, like reaching for my headphones to try to, you know, like mainline more and more podcasts and like try to read articles, like, you know, when I'm eating my lunch and stuff like that. So.
I'm impressed. I didn't know what you were going to be able to come up with this week with your crazy week.
I wasn't sure I'd have anything, actually.
All right. Well, my next one's a little shorter. So it's the biggest fan call out. Biggest fan call out comes from Mike and Wes on Packers Unscripted. And this one actually came from Wes. And it's like, come on, fans. It's okay to criticize, maybe even critique and complain, but settle down on all this, fire this person now. And this player is trash talk because it really, you know, just stop the hate, man. Just stop it. It's not good for anybody. And you know what? It's got to be bad if you made Wes Hod yell. I mean, it's bad.
He's mild-mannered.
Right. And he was talking about Twitter, I think mostly, but I'm not on Twitter. And if people are, I don't listen to any of that on Blue Sky. The little bit that I'm on Blue Sky, I don't stick around for that stuff. I don't want to hear it. Even mid-game, it's like if somebody's talking like that, it's like, I won't be following that account very much longer because that negativity, it affects us. It affects us personally and it affects other people. So just stop it. Just think about what you're saying. Settle down. I do know that some people probably feel like football is an outlet. And so that's how they can get their yelling out and they feel justified doing it. So I'm okay with that too. It's not like I can't handle it, but I just worry because of things like what happened today with or last night with and his name escapes me right now, the Cowboys player. I mean, people have problems. They're players. You don't know how somebody is going to take something, and people are fragile. It's a tough world. Even though players might be making a lot of money, they're still under a lot of pressure. Coaches,
there's still
assistant
people.
coaches. There's entire staffs that might be reading this kind of thing, and it's just I don't know, just listen to Wes. Because Wes yelled, man. Did you hear Wes yell?
No, I didn't catch that. I'm going to go back and listen to it now. No, just listen to Wes is always good advice for sure.
Yes. It's kind of funny because Mike Spofford and Wes Hodkiewicz of Packers.com, they go kind of back and forth about how Wes is trying to get Mike to get on social media more. And Mike was like, see? And Wes is like, you're probably right, this week for sure. So yeah, there's
Yeah. Don,
Mhm.
after the game, that was a good time not to be on Twitter. I can tell you that,
Exactly.
because I was kind of hanging out there for a little bit while I was waiting for like the, pressers to happen.
Oh,
Mistake. It was rough out there. It
I bet.
was bad. And it got to the point eventually I was like, all right, after the last presser was done, I'm just gonna close my computer. My kid
Mhm.
got a balloon and she wants to play keepy uppy with me. So you know what? This is time to go be a dad, go play with my kid, and
Oh,
not
that sounds
keep thinking
fun.
about this. And that kind of stuff. It's like people say, go touch grass. It's like,
Right.
yeah, get away from your computer and go do something else. And I
Right.
guarantee it's gonna help you. Right. Go do something joyful, like
Absolutely. Eat a vegetable, touch some grass.
seriously, just find a way to blow the blues away, because you don't want to sit in that. You don't want to sit and stew in that. That's not healthy for your mentals or your physicals. You got to get up and go do something else and just get your mind onto the next thing.
And it's not healthy for the people around you if you're stewing in
Right.
that, because then you're spewing out all that stuff. I don't like, I don't watch the pressers after a game like that. Like that, I didn't watch. I just turned everything off. I'm like, okay, and I watch a bunch of other games, so it's like out of my memory for a while. I'll watch the press conferences like a day or two when I'm ready, when I'm good and ready.
Sure. Well, the thing about those press conferences, it's, we're talking about like trying to process what happened. And so like in a way they're helpful for that. But
yeah.
After every single, Packers didn't show up kind of thing, Matt LaFleur is always the same. He's always like,
right.
Yeah, we need to be better. We need to be better. It starts with me. Like every time. And like, though I've always appreciated his sort of willingness to, put himself first as, what needs to be fixed. Over time, it just sounds hollow. Like he's just like saying the thing that like the performative, oh, I know this is on me and it starts with me. It's like, yeah, well, you said that for a long time, man. You gotta fix it. So watching his pressers after a bad game are just kind of like same old.
Exactly.
His specific version of like,
it's maddening, right?
Coach stuff. And Jordan Love is so even keeled that like his press conferences, like you can tell he's like upset they lost, but he's never going to be that much outside of like the really wonderfully sane box that he's in. This is not at all a criticism, but to say like he'll explain a thing or two that went wrong, and that's kind of instructive. But it's also like I'm not getting what I want from this, and maybe that's partially because this is going to sound weird, Don, but we were kind of spoiled, I think, in a way by Aaron Rodgers' press conferences, because like he would just say whatever he wanted to, for better and for worse, as we eventually saw over time, especially on the Pat McAfee show. But his post-game pressers,
which I never listened to.
It never should. His post-game pressers were always really interesting and always had something in there like, like he's explained that way more than I thought he would, or like that's really fascinating to hear like his take on the situation, or like you kind of look past the Aaron Rodgers thinks he's the smartest person in the room at all times.
Right.
And, kind of like
making half of it up.
Yeah. You look past some of that, and it's a stark contrast from Jordan Love, who, again, I love that he is so even keeled. I think it's super important, but in the press conferences, you just don't get a lot out of it,
Right. There might come a time, for either of them to come out, break that mold, but they're also probably told to avoid certain things, either by the team or by their agent and the people that are.
Oh yeah, they got the PR guy there. I can't remember his name is, but
all of it.
It's just off camera. I think his name is Tom something. I can't remember what it is exactly, but yeah, always there. Don, do I have one superlative left? Did you do all yours?
I do have a bonus.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you have one left?
I have one more. Yeah, I do one more.
Oh, I have a bonus. How did I do that?
I don't know, Don.
Okay. I have a bonus. Would you like to hear my bonus?
Do your bonus, then I'll do my last one. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, this is totally off the like palate cleansing kind of thing. Kind of like my drink. It's very refreshing. So the superlative is most local to me. And this is from the San Diego Union Tribune a couple days ago. Tom Krasovic. I'm just going to start reading. It has nothing to do with anything we were just talking about, but it's interesting because it kind of does. Okay. Quote, empowered by techno wizardry, bosses within corporations soon may be able to know what their workers ate for breakfast, the blend of coffee they drank on work breaks, and how it affected their output, or something like that. George Orwell may not have been a fuss budget with an overactive imagination. The more we learn about digital age's ever-growing prowess, tools can track a worker's every keystroke and mouse movement and analyze his or her emails. That's true. The actions of delivery truck drivers, warehouse laborers, and many others can be tracked and sifted too.
True.
The men who play in the NFL would have something to say to today's workers about the encroaching techno supervision. Welcome to my world, is what they would say. So, this is a really cool article, and it discusses the increasing use of technology to monitor workers, drawing parallels to how the NFL players are constantly analyzed through cameras and sensors. And it's colorfully written, obviously. That was just a little piece of it. It highlights how this techno supervision can be liberating for some, exemplified by the trade of Rashid Shaheed to the Seattle Seahawks, where his performance data played a role. So the technology, like, they download this crap. So the article also, and it's not just the team, it's the NFL. So this article also mentions Darren Moji, the former. So this is because it talks about two San Diego's. Rashid Shaheed played for San Diego State, and Darren Moji was from San Diego. So making an impressive trade as the New York Jets general manager, demonstrating his strategic acumen and the NFL's data-driven environment. To further quote the article, almost done. NFL players have long performed under stadium cameras that empower every NFL team, not just one's employer, to analyze their on-field movements in hyper detail. With the brave new arrival of computer sensors placed in players' shoulder pads, football data accumulation has reached warp speed. The league is always watching, players say. So if they talk about putting up film, it's not only for their team, but for the other 31 NFL front offices and coaching staffs. And with that, support your local reporters, please. But I just, we don't have a team here, but I kind of noticed that article because it did allude to this technology going on in the NFL, monitoring players, analyzing what they're doing, supposedly improving safety, but I don't think so much that is other things, efficiency probably. But with that and the conversation I had with Miranda last week, I just thought it was a good pairing. So yeah. And
Absolutely.
Also, can you imagine, it just made I think his name was Rashid too, from the Dallas player. Like, if you're having mental health problems and you're under a lot of pressure and you've got all this tracking going on and you feel like maybe you made a mistake, it must be a really weird, like, you must really have to have your head on straight to play in the NFL, to deal with all of this, and to coach, by the way, in the NFL. To deal with. That was kind of my overarching thought.
Oof, a lot to unpack there, Dawn. Yeah, definitely.
It's a lot. And it's just, again, why we, fire a coach or fire a player isn't always that simple. It's not the answer. Believe me, like, with all this going on, if there was something really wrong with a coach or a player, they'd be gone. They'd be gone already.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So a quick shout out to True North, our wonderful, frequent, viewer and commenter in the comments. I should say, to be fair, the New York Jets already used Madden 2024 as a GM for the team, and had a lot of other funny comments here that's flashing on the screen, like, can we use this new technology to replace Rich Bisaccia? But anyhow, True North, appreciate you. Well, then I have my one last superlative, then I'll get to that. All right. Okay. So this really made me happy. We want to acknowledge, you and me in our podcast, like the things that aren't going well,
But, of course, we're also very positive people. So we do try to bring that positivity every week. And we have already to some degree, today.
Mhm.
And so this week's Unpack podcast, which which was Zach Rapport, Nick Bornheimer, and come on, the other guy, shoot, and his name left me. I'm so sorry. But anyhow, this week, Justice Mosqueda joined them though too, and
nice.
and it was a great episode because here's what I liked about it. Right, so what Zach did is he set it up as we're going to spend 12 minutes. Like complaining about the Packers, but we only get to do it for 12 minutes. I'm going to ring the bell. And we're going to do 12 minutes of speaking positively about the Packers. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. Because like you flush out like the negative stuff. Alex Patakis, that's the other guy's name. I just remembered it. Alex, my apologies, man. You're great on the show. I'm so sorry. So anyhow, you flush out the bad stuff first. You get that out of your system, and then you're ready to talk about let's just talk about what's actually good. And first of all, of course, that's an approach I'm going to love just because, as a positively minded person, of course. But like the execution of it was really fun too, because when they got into the positive part, like they're working hard. They're trying to be as positive as possible. And a little bit of like, aggravation kind of like creeped in here and there. But just as a way to like guide a conversation and think about like the state of the team where it's at, kind of roughly the midpoint of the season. It was good. It was good. I liked it a lot actually. And, apart from that, it's not just a good premise, but also the people who in the discussion, made it fun and interesting to listen to as well. I mean, I'm just gonna say, I think all of the Frozen Tundra Frequencies podcasts, so Unpack, Repack, and Reporting is Eligible, if you're listening to Packers podcasts at all, like those three should be essential listening every single week for you because they're the three of the best ones out there, hands down. Like every single one of those three, every episode has always been really great and instructive, and I've learned stuff and it helps me process things. And the hosts are great. I could go on and on, obviously, Don, because those are also good.
Yeah.
And just even as a quick side note within all of that, I've mentioned before, but at the end of every recording is eligible. Paul Noonan has been putting in a song that he wrote, and made with Suno, which is like AI song making tool. Every single week he outdoes himself. There's this one this week he did about the tush push. It was like as a 2000s sort of pop / pop rap song, and it was so funny. It was so funny. I was talking about it all day after that too. It was really great. It was almost like California Girls meets sort of the Beastie Boys, and it was amazing.
Good.
So anyhow, my point being, this particular like premise for the episode for the Unpack was amazing. It was hilarious. You should definitely check it out if you haven't.
I will, Maddie.
I will. Excellent.
I will. I do have him on my podcast list, whatever that's called, to queue up. Did he come up with a name for his album yet?
Oh, I did. Paul Noonan. He hasn't announced it. If so, I still think Recording is Eligible is the best one out there. That's personally, yes. But
All right. Well, we're gonna keep pushing for that because I love it. All right, Maddie. Well, any final thoughts before we bring her home and get on with the rest of Thursday night football and get ourselves prepped for Monday?
Final thoughts. I guess it's. Yeah, okay, I got a final thought for you. Okay, so, the feelings after a game like this are rough, and it's sad, especially with, like, Tucker Kraft going down, especially. But we need to remember that, like, that's just 1 week, and, if the Packers do what I think they can and come back and win against the Eagles this week, we're going to be riding high and, like, really excited about stuff. Like, This is why I say, like, I like Jordan Love being so even keeled. Like, he's not going to get too high and he's not going to get too low. And I think that that's something we can all take to heart. I think about something that Dusty said this week. He had posted some, like, another one of the really great plays, like he does most mornings. It says good morning, and here's just a great play. I love that he does that because it really starts the day off well, right? Somebody had said, like, in the comments for one of them, like, Dusty, you're starting to help me feel not as bad about this game and, like, kind of see some of the good of it. And Dusty was like, this is the thing. The games that are good are never as good as you think they are when you rewatch them. The ones that are bad are never as bad as you think they were when you rewatch them. And so for as cruddy as the Panthers game made us feel, is just one game in the season for a team that's actually really, really good and is got to find itself a little bit, but has a lot of the designer pieces, right, Don? It has to figure out how to coordinate them together.
Yep.
Bring it back to your analogy because it was good. So don't let it get you down so much. Don't let it, and don't call for people to be fired. That's silly.
That's silly. And I will say, when I watched the game again, I actually watched the condensed version on two times speed, which was really fun. It was like they were really fun. But I didn't realize watching condensed. But I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to finish it since I started it, and it was kind of interesting. So by the time I watched the actual broadcast, where I was trying to look at what was going on the sidelines, and because some people were saying, oh, the sideline, the players were really dead and non-animated. And I was like, that's not true. I didn't see that. I saw them pumping up the crowd in the beginning and stuff like that. They might have been when they were struggling or after Tucker went down or something. But so I was looking for all of that because I was hearing all this stuff. And it's like, I think a lot of things, people just need to talk. They need to find content. You need to find the content that isn't doing that because because when I watched the game for the third time, technically, it really wasn't that bad.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't as bad as in the moment when you're like, oh my God, they're going to lose. Well, I didn't even think they were going to lose until they did.
Yeah.
I was like, they're not going to do, they're going to get, they're not.
They'll figure it out. They'll come back strong in the second half.
That fourth and eighth was like, oh God, what was that? That didn't make sense. Even I knew that. So that was a real big blooper. And just like Jordan has real big bloopers every once in a while, but that doesn't mean he's a useless quarterback, right? It's like
he's actually elite. Yeah.
Yes. And as is the coach. So
as is the coach.
Yes. And
I will say
probably most of the coaches on the team. Yeah.
Indeed. And I will say, quick shout out to our good pal. Iowa Joe says, can we call for Versace to be fired at least? That we'll allow that. So
I know we did miss a field goal. It was windy. I don't understand that either. Why
Haversick wasn't the one kicking?
He wasn't on the active at least. So he could have been called up to play. Yeah.
Well, they're actually doing like a real.
That might have been a Matt decision, not a Rich. We don't know. We don't know.
But they actually are having them compete for the for the spot this week.
Yeah.
They're staying out in practice in practice this week. So good.
Could have done that. Yeah, last week. You would have thought they did that last week, but.
Woof. So that was my final thought, Don. People, it was just one game. Let's get up for this next one. It's gonna be a good one, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna be able to see Lambeau on Monday Night Football. What could be better? Yeah,
it looks gorgeous under the lights every time. I love it so much.
We might even have snowflakes.
Oh, wouldn't it be great? Oh, I love that.
I'll be over here drinking my little rose and grapefruit vodka
in your 61-degree weather.
Oh no, 68.
Oh my God.
It's not 71 anymore. It's not 72. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like 3 degrees.
I thought it was 61. That's deep.
I would love for it to be 61. That would be fun. I could actually wear like a sweater. We are supposed to, in a week, get like some rain. I believe it when I see it because they say that all the time and we never get it. But and a little cooler weather, so that'd be cool. I'll let you know if we hit 61.
Don, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt right now. Like I didn't change after work into like a Packer shirt or whatever.
Yeah.
I only go into the long sleeve shirts once it's below 40 degrees here. I'm wearing polo shirts into the mid 40s. So
oh wow.
Like 61 degrees, I could wear a sweater. I'd be way too hot with that. And for Joe, it's only 53 here right now.
Yeah.
I assume in Iowa.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a temperature change and it hits us. We are just not used to that much fluctuation. Yeah.
All right, Don, well, should I bring it home?
Let's bring her home, Maddie.
All right. Well, friends, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right, because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and had the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod, and we look forward to seeing you next week on.
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.